What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here with Cheesehead TV with your Monday afternoon Packers Daily Chat after the Packers drop a disheartening one in New England last night to the Patriots, losing 31-17 in Foxborough. Lots of questions remain afterwards, and I'm muting myself because I don't like the sound of my voice. Packers falling apart in the fourth quarter, nothing new there. I actually thought they played them pretty tough right up until Aaron Jones's fumble. Entire proceeding changed after that. Obviously, Josh McDaniels and company going deep into the bag of tricks there with the throwback screen that really jump-started what turned out to be a runaway train that the Packers could not slow down. But tons of people joining us here on the chat. Always good to see everybody after a win or a loss, and that's why we're here. We're devoted to you guys. We want to hear, we want to feel the angst, we want to get it out, live it together. Because goodness knows we've got 8 more freaking games of this nonsense to deal with. So let's get to it. Packers getting roasted on the radio. Well, that's when you play like they played in the fourth quarter. That's not surprising. Ooh, we have our first fire McCarthy. McCarthy does not need to be calling the plays. End of discussion. Not sure I agree with that, but he definitely needs to change his approach. You think Kumaro will help the offense? Well, we have to wait and see if he gets activated first, but Mike McCarthy, speaking with reporters a little while ago, did say that Geronimo Allison's injury will probably land him in surgery. Sounds like it's pretty significant, so if there is a move to be made, it sure sounds like they could bring up a wide receiver, so we'll have to see how that plays out for the rest of the week. Would learning the offense of a new head coach or offensive coordinator help Rodgers rediscover his 2010 to 2014 self? It's possible. It's also possible it could be a complete nightmare and a disaster. It's one of those things that they will have to take great care if that is the route they want to go. Because we saw with Favre, when Mike Sherman took over from Mike Holmgren. Favre basically did whatever he wanted, essentially, and ran roughshod all over him. And it took Mike McCarthy coming in and really kind of buttoning it up and putting the reins on the former MVP for him to kind of find his old magic, so to speak. Now, Rodgers hasn't got that kind of time. He's on the back end of his career, as he's stated often. And whoever may follow Mike McCarthy, if that is indeed the way the Packers go, is going to be carefully selected because they are going to have to be in sync, so to speak, with Rodgers, for at least the foreseeable future. Rough day for Breeland. Do you think once he knocks the rust off and keeps his hands to himself, he can contribute? I mean, that's kind of the problem. That's part of his game. He's a physical guy. He will get his hands on receivers, but he'll also get called for stuff. Going back and watching it today, I didn't think it was quite as rough as I felt it was watching it live, but there's still, instances where, I think definitely a bit of rust there. You can see why the Packers have been reticent to play him, simply because of the potential penalty factor, and, he hasn't played football in a while. So I do think it's something where he probably can and will improve as the season goes on, but it's going to be tough sledding if they have to go with him for an extended period of time, which it sure sounds like there's a possibility that might happen with Kevin King. He has a hamstring injury that McCarthy said he will be hard-pressed to play through Sunday against the Dolphins. So I think we're going to see some more Breeland here in our future. The Bears win was the worst thing that could have ever happened to this team. They think they can play like crap and win in the end. Not sure I agree with that, but they certainly seem to think that they can turn it on when they need to, although all evidence kind of points to the contrary. I don't think a victory, especially a dramatic one like that, is ever a bad thing, but I do think they have a lot of soul-searching to do, and they've got to figure out a way to start faster. Obviously they came out in the hurry-up last night after the Patriots just waltzed down the field with their hurry-up. But even in a hurry-up mode, there's taking the clock down and getting delay of game penalties, and that's just maddening. So I do think they have to go to a quick rhythm game, much like we saw from the Patriots last night, and that doesn't necessarily mean they have to throw it all over the yard. You saw the Patriots hurry up and run the football and ram it down the Packers' throat. There's nothing suggesting the Packers can't do the same thing. They just have to commit to something. Playoffs or no, Angel, let's watch them beat the Dolphins first, shall we? Everybody wants to play out everything. Get Mike McCarthy fired. Talk about Aaron Rodgers for the next 5 years. I mean, can they beat the Dolphins? I know they're, 9-point favorites heading into Sunday's game. They're at home. That should be a game they should win, but you never know with this team. What is the cause of the cold stretches on offense, William? I think that's the one big thing that Mike McCarthy is going to be working on this whole week, because it has absolutely bedeviled them, especially the last 2 weeks, where they look all world for small bursts and little stretches, but then for whatever reason they go absolutely cold. Now, whether that's the play call, the design, the options that Rodgers has been given, the bogging down on the play calling, getting into Rodgers, there's all sorts of things where it just seems to be a lot of little things adding up, and it's a big part of it is self-induced issues, whether it's the aforementioned not getting the call in on time, getting the snap off, beating the play clock, getting aligned properly, not having holding calls, not getting beat one-on-one, etc. There's always something that seems to derail them, and it's very few and far between where they have drives where they're not shooting themselves in the foot. To me, more than anything else, if they can just stop causing themselves these wounds, I think if not, they're not going to come out, I don't think, and ever overpower someone on offense. I don't think they're built that way. It's not 2011 anymore, but I do think they could be a prolific offense if they just stop killing themselves. Let's go over to Twitter. Let's see what's on people's minds over there on the old tweet machine. People can't make it all the time, 5 Eastern. I know, I understand. That's why we got the hashtag Packers Daily. We got some doozies over here today, so let's take a look here. First up, what does Brian Gutekunst have to change to get a fresh start in the upcoming season? Does Joe Philbin have any impact on the play calling? It looks very uninspired at the moment. Sorry for my rudimentary English skills. Hey, it's no worries, man. I have barely any kind of English skills at all. So, two-part question. Let's go first one. What does Brian Gutekunst have to change to get a fresh start in the upcoming season? Well, I think a lot of that's going to be done for him just with guys like Randall Cobb and Clay Matthews coming off the books. They're going to have a mountain of cap space, and he'll have a bunch of draft picks for ammunition. He's got an extra first rounder. He's got an extra sixth rounder, an extra fourth rounder. So he's got a wide swath of assets to use trying to upgrade / turn around the roster. As far as the second question, does Joe Philbin have any impact on the play calling? Sure doesn't look like it. I mean, you go back to 2011, the last time Joe was in town, they were running running roughshod all over the league. Like, they didn't worry about anything. They moved the ball at will. As Ryan Grant said on the watch party the other night, they were actually, up by 30 points or something at halftime against Denver, and Mike McCarthy was going ballistic on them because he said they should have been up by 50. I mean, that was then. That was the last time Joe was in town. This time around, whatever adjustments and or eye in the sky, buttressing, being a kind of a buffer zone for McCarthy, whatever it is that Philbin's supposed to be doing, it sure doesn't look or appear to be showing up on Sundays. Now it's hard to say with any kind of concrete certainty because they do go out of their way not to tell us too much about what exactly Joe's responsibilities are. But holy cow, right now, you don't see much difference with Joe on board. Can you explain what a waiver claim is? Should the Packers put in a waiver claim on Raiders defensive end Bruce Irvin? I think the waiver time went and passed, and I don't think anyone claimed him, so I think he's a free agent now. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is the danger of live here. But as far as what a waiver claim is, basically it's a reverse order, kind of like a draft, where all 32 teams are in order. It goes from the worst record to the best, and each team can have an opportunity to claim a player who's on waivers. Now, normally, a vested veteran, which Irvin is, 4 or more years of experience, is not subject to waivers. But because it's after the trade deadline, anybody who gets cut is subject to waivers. Well, like I said, I don't think anybody put in a claim. So do I think the Packers will go after him? I doubt it. Matthew asks, how in the hell have we done this 2 weeks in a row where our defense played a stretch of great football and we muster 0 points? We stopped Brady the entire third quarter. Matthew, those are those cold spells we've been talking about, and I think a lot of it is self-inflicted. It's hard to watch. It was certainly hard to watch last night. As I tweeted during the game, there was an offensive series that made me want to shove hot needles into my eye sockets. It's just ugly football at times. And what really kills me is that there are some seemingly obvious adjustments. So you see last night, early on, New England pressing, no safety on the back end, huge blitz upcoming. For whatever reason, there's not an adjustment at the line of scrimmage to take advantage of that. Say maybe switch to a slant or a quick hitting play to try and catch them in that blitz. Instead, they've got guys streaking down the field, and Rodgers has to heave it up, and there's a route miscommunication with the rookie, and they're out, third down. Now it's fourth, and they got a punt. Later on, obviously, they caught him with MVS, but again, that's down the field. Where's the slant gone in this offense? Where's the quick hitting, quick release stuff gone that's actually forward momentum looking rather than throwing it behind the line of scrimmage or horizontal to Randall Cobb and or EQ or whoever's out there on the side. Devontae, his stuff last night was horizontal. And I get you want to get the ball in their hands and you want them to get upfield, but the slant has gone missing, and it should be the bread and butter of this offense. And it's killing them. Is it time to push the panic button? No, not time to panic. There's 8 games left. With Chicago and Minnesota nearly 2 games ahead and inconsistent play calling and execution, do the Packers have to win out the rest of the year, or is it already too late? No, it's not too late. However, they do probably have to go 7-1 or 6-2 to have a shot. So the playoffs basically start now. It's pretty simple. It seems part of the problem is that when McCarthy's play obviously doesn't work and no one is open, when Rodgers extends, he doesn't have chemistry with anyone like Jordy. Thoughts? I think there's some merit to that. I mean, you saw Jordy was very successful and productive in the red zone last year, but prior to Rodgers going down, a lot of that was Rodgers having trust in him. But I think you saw last night on that second touchdown, or that was the first touchdown of the night, where Rodgers is scrambling to his left, nothing's there initially, and he's kind of motioning with Davante Adams, and that ends up being a touchdown. That's a lot of the kind of stuff he used to do with Jordy. So I think Davante is growing in, or has grown into that role. I definitely think, obviously Rodgers had played a ton of football with Jordy Nelson, and I don't doubt he misses that a little bit. I just think teams have done a much better job of dealing with Rodgers once things break down in his kind of sandlot version of football. They know the plastering has gone very well. Teams know never to let up their guard when guys start, maybe slowing down a little bit, and then they take off. That used to kind of help shake guys free. It never happens anymore. Time and time again, we see Rodgers break outside the pocket and scanning the field down the field, and it used to be he would find guys and things would happen. Not anymore. That's gone the way of the dinosaur because teams are used to it now. They know that's the kind of Rodgers' MO. They're not going to give it to him. All right, let's get back to the live chat, shall we? The person who is solely responsible for keeping senile Thompson between 15 and 17 is Mark Murphy, who also decides the coaching staff. Well, Lomar, that's not strictly true. He doesn't decide the entire staff. He decides who the head coach is. That is his purview, as of last year. In all caps, Travis says, Packers need a new age coach and an offensive coordinator. We have the talent. I don't necessarily disagree with that last part. New age coach, what does that mean? Somebody who runs a lot of motion and trick stuff? Maybe. I'd actually prefer to see a defensive-minded coach come next. That's just me. If this is the end of McCarthy, which we have 8 games yet to find out. The Ravens and Saints somehow are able to incorporate backup quarterbacks into their offense and have productive plays, yet the Packers struggle to get the snap off before the play clock expires. Yeah, but so what? I mean, I love how everybody's all up in the Saints' grill about their use of Taysom Hill, when all Taysom Hill does when he gets the football in his hands is take the ball out of Drew Brees' hands. McCarthy never would have used him that way, blah, blah. Yeah, because it would take the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. The greatest player in the NFL. I'm not so broken up about it. That's just me. Desperate McCarthy is the best McCarthy? Brett, you absolutely hit the nail on the head there. Whenever his back is against the wall is when McCarthy usually does his best work. Going to be interesting to see if that's the version of McCarthy we see coming out the second half of the season. What would you change about the team? I would run hurry up from the get-go. I would spread it out and have Aaron quick passing game all game long. Use the running game as a change of pace and keep Aaron Jones and feature him in the passing game and the running game. And that would be essentially it. And I wouldn't try and like send these over and over and over again with these deep developing plays that have receivers 15, 20 yards downfield. There's a moment in the game last night where I couldn't believe that it's 3rd and 4. The game is on the line. They have got to convert to have a chance in this game. It's 3rd and 4, and every single eligible receiver is 20 yards down the field, 15 to 20. I mean, what are they doing? How are they living? For you just need 5 yards. Run a slant. The slant has disappeared, and it's killing me. You think this is a mentally weak team? Interesting question. I wouldn't say yes right off the bat. I do think they are scattershot. I think they feed off the energy they get from guys like Jair, maybe Aaron Jones on offense. But for the most part, they are a reflection of their head coach and their quarterback, who are very even-keeled. They don't get too high and don't get too low. I think they have a calm about them and a reserve about them. I can't speak to what goes on in the locker room and how guys respond to that kind of leadership, but that is the kind of team that they are. That's the kind of leaders they are. Going to be awesome to see this draft class in a couple years. Travis, I totally agree there. Have you considered coaching for the Packers? God, no. Nobody wants that. Have you watched the Madden previews at Cheesehead TV's YouTube page by any chance? Nobody wants that. The thing I don't understand is it will be like 3rd and 2, and they will throw a bomb down the field. Just get the first down. OMG. Glomar, goal line fade, question marks. Hey, they threw it up to Jimmy Graham yesterday. Because anytime you can run a play that has less than roughly a 30% chance statistically, of being successful, you got to take it. How's that for analytics? What is the Packers' identity? It's week 10. I think that's the problem. I don't think they have one. Their identity right now is sloppy play and self-inflicted wounds. That's their identity. Our defense is doing it by design or by luck. That seems the majority of times that when 12 escapes the pocket, it's to the side of no wide receivers. I think it's, I don't want to say luck, but I don't think it's a thing that most teams are game planning / designing something for. I do think, a lot of the times we've seen usually interior pressure happen quickly and Rodgers just has to escape. It just happens to be a side where there's no options. Right side of the line without Bulaga is going to kill Rodgers. I want to say there has been no one. I've put up plenty of his blunders throughout the course of his tenure in Green Bay, but Jason Spriggs played a decent game last night. He had his troubles, no question. He was taken advantage of on occasion, no doubt about it. But down in and down out, he had a solid game. And they were able to operate their offense. And that's pretty much all you can ask for when you got a guy coming into a Mike McCarthy offense where they leave those tackles on an island all the time, because we all know Mike doesn't change. He's as stubborn as they come. I thought Spriggs held up pretty decently. And now, of course, some of that is Aaron getting the ball out of his hands. Some of that is going away from him, etc. But overall, I thought Jason played a pretty decent game. Is Rodgers doing enough to look okay but slacking a bit to get McCarthy fired? No. The irony of Jones finally getting plenty of snaps and the costly fumble is something you just laugh at. I wasn't laughing last night, but sure. How is Brian Gutekunst not getting discussed here? He was earlier in the video. How would you like Brian Gutekunst to be discussed? He has been on the job a very short time. He's got the team positioned to be successful over the course of his tenure, and that is his job as general manager. Is he doing enough to help the team this year? Who can say? We'll find out at the end. We've still got 8 games to go. It's hard to give any kind of early grades on your general manager when you're only 8 games into the season. Mercedes Lewis had a catch, yes, and he was on the field for 7 entire snaps. It's amazing. It's a new day. No, it's the same day. Holding on to the ball way too long, need more quick passes and a hurry-up offense. Couldn't agree more. I think the Packers need to go offensive lineman in the first round. Whew, bold. I mean, they've had real success with finding guys later in the draft. But yeah, if someone falls to them, I wouldn't hate it. Hate the Jones fumble, but I love his accountability. Jack, that was refreshing last night. Shortly after the game, Aaron Jones tweeted out his apology and said he will absolutely get it corrected and that he's happy to be here, meaning I guess in Green Bay with the Packers. But yeah, it was nice. Nice to see a guy take immediate responsibility for his error. The refs hate the Packers. No, they don't, Mike. That's all in your mind. This has nothing to do with Goots. Well, Daniel, I don't know about that. I mean, he put together the team. It's a reflection of him. We just don't know what the season looks like yet. We have to let it play out. 8 games to go. Didn't Gutekunst say there will be consequences to not performing? McCarthy eyeball emoji. He did, however, he doesn't have the power to fire Mike McCarthy. That is on Mark Murphy. Curious how you became a Packer fan. How I became a Packer fan? I was born in Wisconsin, and my grandfather took me to a Packers game when I was 3 years old, and that was it. I hate this time change. Why are you all in caps, Travis? All hope is not lost for the future. They have some pieces on both sides of the ball. Now time to add even more in the offseason. I mean, you hate to be talking about the offseason in week 9, 10, but you're right. How did Breeland play? Looked like he hadn't played in a long time. I thought he held up okay, but he had some really costly penalties and or bad plays, put the Packers in some rough positions. You would hope that over time, you give him some more game action, he'll round into form here, and they're going to need him if Kevin King is indeed out for a while. Vote Raji tomorrow. I love it, Jeff. Perfect place to end it. Thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by. I know last night was rough. That fourth quarter took it out of me, but we're back. We're good. Make sure you're checking Cheesehead TV for all the latest. Make sure you're subscribing here to our YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook, share us. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your loved ones. Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good night.